if anyone would check that we're going on the proper place. And we are live with Table Read Tuesday on a very special reading of something that you cannot find anywhere online. I would like Morgan to tell us a little bit about that, if you're ready.
Yeah, Lindsay Boggs, who is a super big fan of X-Files, has collected a lot of the scripts over the years, and this is one of them. And it's also it's known as one of the best X-Files episodes ever made. And it's also a few weeks ago, the 30th anniversary of the X-Files. So it's super cool that we get to read this one because it's not anywhere online. It was collected by a fan who collects those scripts.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that we got to do this and that you found that for us.
I'm excited. This is my favorite episode.
And I'm going to watch as soon as we're off here. I'm going to try and find it and watch it. So with that,
it's a Christmas episode, but it's topical for Halloween too, because it's a haunted house episode.
Oh, it's kind of, I feel anything that's like that, it makes me think of the one, the Nightmare
Before Christmas.
Yeah. Christmas, Halloween. I don't know. It's good for both. All right. So if everyone is ready, I'll share the screen. I don't know if I'm ready. Hold on a sec.
Did you want to do introductions during this?
Oh, that's right. Yes, thank you. It's been so long since I should have just handed it over for you. So today we have Kat as action descriptions. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Kat Wilson from Gig Harbor, Washington, and excited to read the script today. And normally when I'm not reading here, I'm reading with Two Households in Fair Corona, which is a Shakespeare reading group.
Thank you. And next we have Erin Lillis.
Hello, I am Erin Lillis. I am a voice actor, primarily from the No Sleep podcast and a bunch of other horror stuff. And tonight I'm going to be playing Dana Scully.
Very cool. And Vicky.
Hello, I'm Vicky Dykes. I'm from Central Alberta. I'm an actress and yoga enthusiast. And I'm actually at the very beginning of shooting a yoga show that I'm going to put on YouTube. And I'm really excited about it. So that'll be happening soon. I will be reading for Ed tonight or / Maurice.
Very good. Thank you. And Morgan Toll.
Hi, I'm Morgan, voice actor here in Los Angeles, California. My newest project, Slayers, comes out in October on Audible. So hope you guys check it out.
Very cool. All right. So here we go.
What about you?
I am Angel. Thanks. And I feel like I'm always busy. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Sometimes projects, sometimes life. But I'm always findable here at Table Read Tuesday. Like and subscribe and share. I don't think we ever say that. So there we go.
Click that button in the corner and
Click
ring the bell for notifications.
Share and tell all your friends and family members. And anyone. Okay, here we go. The X-Files. Am I sharing it? Did it work?
Not yet.
Does it work? Oh, there we go. I believe that worked. So, Kat, are you ready?
Yep.
Got a big glass of water for yourself?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Here we go.
The X-Files. How the Ghost Stole Christmas, episode 8. Written by Chris Carter, directed by Chris Carter.
Oh, we'll go past all this stuff.
And we will fade into the exterior of a spooky old house night. The gothic organ music provides the atmosphere for this classic horror movie shot, as a legend appears somewhere, Maryland. A misty fog spreads over the grounds surrounding the Gothic Victorian architecture of the looming old manor house. There are no lights on, and as the camera pulls back, we see in the front yard an old house condemned, no trespassing sign. Its lettering dull and faded from another time. As camera continues to pull, the organ music slowly crossfades with the sound of a happy Christmas jingle as we cut to the interior of Agent Mulder's FBI car, Night. Mulder sits alone in his car, the happy jingle playing on his radio. He's keeping an eye on the old spooky house, checking his watch now as the headlights wash over him. Mulder looking up in his rearview mirror as the lights become brighter, reaching to turn off the radio. Then looking OC to see Mulder's POV out the passenger window, where we see Agent Scully has pulled up right next to him in her FBI car. She has wrapped Christmas presents stacked in her back seat. She looks rather hassled and not altogether happy to see Mulder, or to be here for that matter. Reverse on Mulder. He waves to her with a forced, guilty smile as his electric passenger window rolls down. Hers is already down.
I almost gave up on you.
The checkout lines were worse than rush hour on the 95. If I heard Silent Night one more time, I would have started taking hostages. What are we doing here, Mulder?
Stakeout.
On Christmas Eve?
It's an important date.
No kidding.
Important to why we're here. Why don't you turn off your car and I'll fill you in on the details.
Scully looks weary, not to mention dubious and skeptical.
I've got wrapping to do, Mulder.
Oh,
Mulder turns away from her, looking at the house looming in on the background. Scully's the guilty one now. Hold on her, shaking her head at herself as she rolls up her electric window. Angle on Mulder, turning from the house to see Scully getting out of her car and closing the door. Then she opens the door to Mulder's car and gets in.
Let's hear it. The details.
look, if you have Christmas stuff to do.
I drove all the way out here. I might as well know why.
I just thought you might be curious.
Who lives in the house?
No one.
Then who are we staking out?
The former occupants.
They've come back?
That's the story.
Scully is nodding, looking past Mulder to the house.
I see. The dark Gothic manor, the omnipresent low fog hugging the thicket of overgrowth. Wait, was that a hound I heard baying out on the moors?
I think that was a left cheek sneak.
Mulder, tell me you didn't call me out here on Christmas Eve to go ghost busting with you.
Scully, I didn't call you out here to go ghost busting with me on Christmas Eve.
Yes, you did.
Technically speaking, they're called apparitions.
Call it what you want. I've got holiday cheer to spread and family roll call under the tree at 6 a.m. sharp.
Scully reaches for the door handle, but Mulder reaches for the auto door lock button and quickly locks the doors. Scully turns to him with a look.
Said you wanted the details. I'll make it quick.
Off Scully's look, we angle onto the house through the windshield and a slow pull out.
Christmas, 1917, a time of dark, dark despair. American soldiers were dying at an ungodly rate. In war-torn Europe, at home, a deadly strain of flu was killing old and young alike. Tragedy was a visitor on every block, and a creeping hopelessness set in with every man, woman, and child. It was a time of dark, dark despair.
You said that.
Holding up a finger as if to ask for Scully's forbearance, then pointing this finger at yonder house.
But at 1501 Larkspur Lane, for a pair of star-crossed lovers, tragedy came not far from war or pestilence, not by the boot heel or the bombarder, but by their own innocent hand.
Molly holds Scully's look for a pregnant beat. She doesn't want to admit what her face is betraying. She's curious.
Go on.
His name was Maurice, a brooding but heroic young man, beloved of Lydia, a sublime beauty with light which seemed to follow her everywhere. They were linked to two angels descended from heaven, who the gods could not protect from the horrors being visited on this cold, gray earth.
What happened to them?
Driven by a tragic fear of Sebastian, they forged a lover's pact to be together forever until eternity, never to spend one single Christmas apart.
They killed themselves.
Their ghosts haunt this very house every Christmas Eve.
Mulder holds out his arms, looking at them.
I just gave myself chills.
It's a nice story, Mulder. Well told, but I don't believe it.
You don't believe in ghosts?
That surprises you?
Well, yeah, kind of. I thought everyone believed in ghosts.
I think everyone would like to believe in ghosts. I think we like to believe the people who say they've seen a ghost, but that doesn't mean ghosts exist.
Bah, humbug.
Mulder, if it were any other night, I might let you try to talk me into it, but the halls are decked and I gotta go.
She gives him a tight smile, then opens a door lock, taking the handle and opening the door to exit. Exterior, Mulder's car, night, continuous. Over the car to Scully, whose head rises up above the car roof as she closes the door behind her. Mulder's door opening in the foreground and Mulder getting out.
All the best to the family.
She turns to him.
What are you doing, Mulder?
He gives her a forlorn little smile and closes his car door, starting out toward the house. Scully, watching him, a little surprised by this.
Don't you have somewhere to be?
I'm just going to take a look.
As he's moving toward the house, through the low fog, disappearing into the darkness surrounding the looming manor. Angle on Scully. She's still watching Mulder, concerned about him. Concerned enough now to walk out from between the cars as if she's going to follow him. Then she stops herself.
No, I'm not gonna go do it. My New Year's resolution.
Scully steps the car, searching for her keys, but she can't find them. Her hands going from one pocket to the next, but she can't find them. She turns now to look in Mulder's car, when all of a sudden her car alarm starts blaring. Headlights blinking, sirens sirening, horn beeping, causing Scully to about jump out of her skin. And off this, we cut to the interior of the haunted house foyer. Night continues. Mulder pushes the creaky front door open. Off screen, Scully's car alarm fills the night. Mulder pokes his flashlight inside first, then takes a step in, widening to reveal a rather elegantly detailed foyer, its furniture covered in sheet and cobwebs. After a moment, Scully's car alarm quits, and the night goes silent again. Mulder turns to register this before proceeding further into the house, cautiously but not scared. Close on Mulder, Mulder is on hyper alert, expecting at any moment for the ghost of Lydia and Maurice to materialize before him. As a flash of lightning lights up the house, followed after by a moment of sharp thundercrack. As the thunder rolls out, a creaking door behind Mulder causes him to spin.
Change your mind?
Angle on the front door, where Scully stands, peeking in, annoyed.
Did you take my car keys?
No.
Come on, Mulder, don't get around.
Scully steps inside now, looking around.
Why would I take your keys?
Maybe you grabbed them by mistake.
Maybe it was a ghost.
Suddenly, there's a heavy knocking from somewhere in the house. It's on the floor above them, a banging, walking like Jacob Marley's ghost. Camera panning to the ceiling, and then back to Mulder and Scully, who are frozen. Scully jumping at the sound of a creepy old grandfather clock as it chimes a spooky melody. Resume Mulder and Scully, as wind now starts to ruffle their hair, coming from somewhere inside the house, the chimes continuing.
Cold wind.
Scully feels it, but she's scared it doesn't show.
There must be windows open upstairs. The weather report was an 80% chance of rain, possibly even a white Christmas.
Strong gust hits them, then a door slams. Camera whipping to the front door. The second double door slams shut. Another bolt of lightning as Scully slides into the frame, reaching for the knob. But the door won't open. As she pulls hard on it, fighting to get it open, we go to the main titles. Act 1. We fade into the interior of the haunted house foyer night. Scully is at the front door where we left her, yanking on the knob, but to no avail. More lightning as she turns back to Mulder, standing where he was in the foyer.
I think the spirits are among us.
Mulder, quit trying to scare me and help me get this door open.
But Mulder doesn't move, listening again as the thunder gives way to the knocking sound again, which resumes, then stops.
Did you hear that? Someone is walking. There.
A rattle of chains accompanies the knocking. Mulder follows it with his ears, turning from Scully, moving to the stairs.
I really have to go.
And the clanking stops again.
There's nothing to be afraid of.
I'm not afraid, okay?
Those are benevolent entities,
More clanking.
mostly.
Mulder starts up the stairs, disappearing from Scully's line of sight, leaving her alone by the door in the foyer.
You aren't scaring me, Mulder.
Scully checks her watch with impatience, curious to see Scully's watch. It reads 11 o'clock. Camera panning off to the nearby grandfather clock, which also reads 11. Profile on Scully, made curious by this, but not any less impatient.
Mulder, got to get home.
Another bolt of lightning flashes, illuminates a figure in the room adjoining the foyer. The vague figure of a woman dressed in a flowing robe. It's only there for a moment, for as long as a lightning flash, and then it's gone. Just long enough to get Scully's attention. We saw it. Did Scully see it? She thought she saw it, but she's not sure. Cut to the interior of a haunted house. Grand stairway, night continues. Angled down on Mulder, moving up the steps, homing in on the knocking sound when Scully appears at the base of the stairs.
Mulder,
What's it sound?
Mulder stops, turns, points toward the ceiling, but the knocking has actually stopped. Scully gives him a look.
these are tricks the mind plays. Ingrained cliches from 1,000 different horror movies.
Mulder nods, not accepting a word of it, turns and continues up.
You hear a sound, get a chill, see a shadow, and allow yourself to imagine something that an otherwise rational person would discount out of hand.
Mulder exits from past camera, leaving Scully at the base of the stairs by herself. Spooked, she starts up now too.
The whole idea of a benevolent entity fits perfectly with what I'm saying. That a spirit would materialize or would return for no purpose other than to show itself is silly and ridiculous. What it really shows is how silly and ridiculous we can become in believing such a thing.
Angle on Mulder. He's reached the next floor, which has a rectangular landing off of which there are several closed doors. Scully appears behind him.
That we can ignore and disregard all natural laws about the corporeal body, that we witness these spirits clad in their own shabby clothes, with the same old haircut or hairstyle, never aging, nor in search of more comfortable surroundings, says much more about the living than it does about the dead.
Mulder moves from door to door, finding each one locked.
Doesn't take an advanced degree in psychology to understand the unconscious yearnings that these imaginings satisfy. The longing for immortality, the hope that there is something beyond this mortal coil, that we might never be long without our loved ones. These are powerful desires, the very essence of what makes us human, the very essence of Christmas, actually.
Mulder and Scully jump when a door creaks open, spinning to see their point of view of the door. Directly behind them, one of the locked doors that Mulder just checked is now cracked open, light sneaking out. Resume on Mulder and Scully, frozen in their tracks.
Tell me you're not afraid.
Okay, I'm afraid, but it's an irrational fear.
Mulder gives her a look. Scully still won't give him the benefit of her ever-creeping doubt. They stand for a moment until Scully moves first, around the landing to the cracked open door, opening it, looking in, turning back to Mulder.
Mulder, did it ever occur to you that there aren't any ghosts here, but that someone might actually live in this house?
He's moving over to her.
No one lives here.
Well, when you and I were in the car, there wasn't a single light on. And look at this.
Mulder steps in beside Scully, looking into the interior of a haunted library. Balcony night continues. Angle on Mulder and Scully, who stand on the landing a level above us, looking down on a beautiful old library, which is lit by a crystal chandelier hanging from its highest turret ceiling. The lower level is windowless, though there are two closed doors which lead out of the room. The furniture is draped with sheets, as in the foyer and the rooms adjoining it, except for two tall wingback chairs facing the fireplace. The windows on the level where Mulder and Scully stand are high, over their heads. Closer are Mulder and Scully.
It must have been some kind of electrical surge.
Did you notice the clock downstairs keeping perfect time?
It is.
And how do you explain that?
Scully is pointing off stage at the closest angle of the fireplace, which has several charred, smoldering logs lying on its floor. Camera adjusting to Mulder and Scully as they climb down the decorative wooden ladder that leads to the first floor. Moving to hold their hands to logs, feeling.
This fire is barely cold.
Yeah.
Scully looks at Mulder, who is nodding silently.
Don't look so disappointed.
And Mulder is. Scully stares at him until he rises out of the frame. New angle. Mulder looks around as Scully rises into the frame, though through this there will be some small, infrequent lightning strikes.
Who'd lived in a cursed house?
It's not enough that it's haunted, it's also cursed.
Every couple who's lived here has met a tragic end. 3 double murders in the last 80 years, all on Christmas Eve.
Scully's reaction is captured in a bright flash of lightning, causes the lights to go out. The door they entered slams shut. When the thunder dies, there's a new thump, 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 thumping.
There's that sound again.
Mulder tunes his ear to the sound, stepping to the wingback chairs, from underneath which the sound is coming. Mulder moving the chairs out of the way, looking at Scully with excitement, which she doesn't share, and she's not sticking around. She heads for the nearest exit, one of the 2 doors at either end of this room. Moving quickly past Mulder, reaching for the knob, only to find once again a locked door. Looking back at Mulder, standing on the section of the floor, the boards of which bend with each consecutive thump. And then it stops. Mulder getting quickly to his knees, putting his ear to the ground, listening. High angle now over Scully and Mulder, from the position they first viewed the room. Scully moving quickly past Mulder, heading for the ladder that they used to climb down. Camera panning her past Mulder across the floor, only to find the ladder is no longer there. It has magically and mysteriously disappeared, leaving Scully looking up at the camera as another lightning strike illuminates the darkened room. Resume on Mulder, getting up from his knees as Scully backs toward him, into him, truly scared now. Turn to find Mulder with his flashlight under his chin, pointing it up past his face like every school kid in the world has done.
Ah, that's not funny.
There's some kind of hiding space under here.
Mulder moves to the hearth, picking through the fireplace tools.
Mulder, what are you doing?
Somebody's trapped, Scully. I'm gonna get them out.
Don't, Mulder, please.
She's got him by the arm, begging.
You have a gun. You know how to use it. Rationally, you've been in far more dangerous situations.
He shakes gently free, then starts prying the floorboards. We hear wood being distressed. There's a crack of light appearing, and then off comes a floorboard, Mulder lifting the wood plank away, looking past the camera, flashlight in hand, with an expression of wondrous horror.
I was half right.
Scully's face now appears over his shoulder, chancing a peek down in, reacting to the thing Mulder is reacting to.
Oh my God.
Scully's PIV over Mulder, in the hiding space, caught in the flashlight beam, is a dead male body, horribly decayed. A gunshot wound to its head, its clothes moldy and stained by fluids, stuff of nightmares. Mulder working now with the tool to get the next plank off.
Look at this, Scully.
Mulder pulls the second plank off, revealing part of a second body, this one equally decayed.
It's a woman. Looks like they were both shot to death.
Indeed, as Mulder pries the third plank off, the body is that of a female. And though her clothes are moldy, stained from a gunshot wound to her chest, there is something distinctly familiar about them.
You want to know what's weird?
Scully's fingering her business suit, creeped.
She's wearing my same outfit.
Mulder shines his flashlight on her, then back in the hole. Scully's right. The old moldy outfit is a dead match.
How embarrassing.
Yeah, well, that one's wearing your clothes.
Closer in on the first body, Mulder's flashlight beam finds the first body, a male, and indeed, it's got his clothes on. Resume up angle on Mulder, Scully over his shoulder, both realizing it at the same time.
Scully.
That's us.
Resume previous angle on Mulder and Scully. As Mulder rises up next to Scully, as freaked as she is, a flash of lightning x-rays the room. Mulder doesn't need any goading now. He's a step ahead of Scully, moving to the yet untried door. Camera following them as Mulder reaches for the knob, twists it, and the door opens. Mulder charging through it, Scully's on his heels, and we cut to the interior of a second haunted library. Night continues. As Mulder and Scully come charging into,
Scully.
We're in the same room.
Mulder darting back the few steps the door, looking into, and cut to the interior of the first haunted library. Night. Wide on the previous room. As Mulder peeks in, then Scully. The floorboards which Mulder pried up are stacked the way they were left, as they will be in every consecutive room to come. We cut to the second haunted library. Night continues. The agents step back into the room, Mulder on the move, Scully on his heels. Traversing the room, headed for the analogous door at the other end. Pardon my pronunciation. Camera following. In fact, this is the same shot as the previous following shot. Following Mulder to the door, which is partially open. He pushes the door wide open, charging in, Scully right behind him. We cut to the interior of a third haunted library. Night continues. Mulder charging in, then Scully. They stand for a moment, then look at each other, looking around. What the Sam Hill's going on?
Okay. I think I've got it.
You go through that door, and
I should come out this door. Right?
His answer is another flash of lightning. As Mulder starts now, we're in the same following shot, only much slower now. Following him to the Nagless door, we see it's just partially open. Glancing back over his shoulder as he gets to the door at Scully, watching him as he nears the door. Turning to the door behind her, moving to it, anticipating Mulder, but no Mulder. She takes a beat, then pokes her head into the second haunted library. Night continues. Whitish on the room where Scully pokes her head in. No Mulder. Resume previous Scully in the third haunted library. Pulling her head out of the other room, looking back to see. Resume Scully's point of view, the door Mulder entered. It stands open, as it did when Mulder pushed through, but no Mulder. He's nowhere to be seen. Resume Scully. A flash of lightning x-rays the room again. As she starts toward the door Mulder entered.
Mulder? Mulder?
Scully.
Echoing somewhere off screen, but as she gets no further than the mid-room when the door behind her slams. Scully wheeling around the sound as the door she was heading for slams too. Camera pushing in on her fearful face. Another flash of lightning provides a match cut to the interior fourth haunted library. Night continuous. Mulder stops short in the middle of this room, having heard the door connecting these rooms slam too. Mulder moving to the closed door now, camera following him as he rushes to it, grabbing for the knob, twisting it, and the door opens. Mulder charging in to find the interior of the third haunted library. Night continuous. Where we expect to find Scully, we find only an empty room. That is, this is what Mulder finds when he charges in.
Scully. Scully.
But he gets no answer. And off this, we end Act 1. Act 2, we're in the interior of the third haunted library. Night continuous. Hide wide angle down to Mulder, standing at the door we just left him, watching him as he rushes to the door opposite the one he just entered. Angle on Mulder, coming to this other door, which we saw slam behind Scully, reaching for the knob, twisting it, and it's locked.
Scully.
He pounds on the door.
Scully, can you hear me?
He pounds some more. Listening now, but there is no response. Mulder's mind is racing. As he reaches for his service weapon, pulling it from either his shoulder or his ankle holster, taking a step back and firing at the door lock. Bang, bang, bang. The wood around the lock and the jamb splintering away. Stepping forward now, grabbing for the knob, opening a door to find a brick wall. Reverse on Mulder. Taking a step back, stunned by the discovery, the non sequitur. when lightning strikes, illuminating a figure in the doorway in the background. As Mulder continues to step back from the brick wall, the click of the figure closing the door has the ominous weight of a wrecking ball. And if white men could jump, Mulder would be clinging to the ceiling. Instead, he spins around to see
Who are you?
I think that's the question I ask you, being that this is my house you're standing in.
the figure reaches over, flips on a light switch, bringing the overhead chandelier to life, filling the room with a warm glow and changing himself from a shadowy silhouette into Ed. He looks middle to late 50s, dressed casually, rumpled. He's got a cloth hat on, like he might wear around the garden, looking for all the world like a grouchy everyman.
This isn't one of those home invasions, is it?
Mulder eyes this man, uncertain what to make of him.
No.
Good. Would you like me to show you the door?
Very funny.
I wasn't making a joke.
Have you looked at the door?
Oh, yes. I'm looking at it now.
Mulder is nodding, scared but excited at the prospect of seeing a ghost. Then venturing a peek behind him, indeed the door is still bricked up.
Tell me what you see.
I see a door with the lock shot off it. Are you going to pay for that?
It's a door with a brick wall behind it.
Okay, sure.
You're playing tricks on me.
If I am, I'm sorry. But I don't think I know any tricks.
That's a trick in itself. You've been playing tricks on us since we got here, haven't you?
Am I to take it you're not alone?
Now that's funny from a ghost.
It takes a moment, but Ed's face lights up now. He chuckles.
The guy had me a little fooled. You're a ghost hunter. That's why you thought I was a ghost. We've had a lot of strange folks come around with a lot of strange equipment, but I don't think I've seen anyone armed.
Mulder feels a little silly, but he's not convinced.
Strange folks? You mean like the ones buried over there?
Mulder gestures past Ed toward the spot in front of the fireplace, but his face loses shape as soon as he does.
How did you do that?
New angle over Ed at the fireplace. In the time Mulder used to open the second door, the floorboards have somehow been mysteriously replaced. The wingback chairs move back into their original positions.
I didn't do anything.
Mulder enters a frame, moving past Ed to the wingback chairs, bends to check the floor underneath them.
There were corpses, bodies under these floorboards.
Ed watches Mulder with a judgmental eye, nodding.
Why don't you have a seat, son?
Mulder plops down into one of the wingback chairs. He rubs his eyes with both hands as Ed comes and sits next to him.
You drink, take drugs, get high?
No.
Are you overcome by an impulse to make people believe you? I'm in the field of mental health, specializing in disorders and manias related to pathological behavior as it pertains to the paranormal.
I've never heard of that.
My specialty is in what I call soul prospectors, cross-sectional classification. I've codified by extensive interaction with visitors like yourself. I found you all tend to fall into pretty much the same category.
What category is that?
Narcissistic, overzealous, self-righteous egomaniacs.
That's a category?
You kindly think of yourself as single-minded, but you're prone to obsessive compulsiveness, workaholism, antisocialism, fertile fields for a descent into total wacko breakdown.
Ed's tone has changed through this. What we might have taken for a kind of lovable grump has given way to a blunt meanness.
I don't think that exactly pegs me.
Really? Waving a gun in my house? Ranting like a lunatic about imaginary brick walls? You're probably the type who's convinced he's seen aliens.
I have seen aliens.
You know why you think you see these things?
Why I think I see them?
because you're a very lonely man chasing paramasturbatory illusions that you believe will give your life meaning and significance, which your pathetic social maladjustment makes it impossible to find elsewhere. You probably consider yourself passionate, serious, misunderstood. Am I right?
Pair of a masturbatory.
Most people would rather stick their finger in a wall socket than spend a minute with you.
Now hold on.
Is this the way you spend every Christmas Eve? Alone?
I'm not alone.
Oh, maybe that's more self-delusion.
I came here with my partner. She's in the house somewhere.
Oh, behind that brick wall? Oh, how'd you get her in here with you? Steal her car keys?
Ed's analytic blitz has caught Mulder off guard, making him annoyed, if not a little suspicious.
You know why you do it? Listen endlessly to her droning rationalizations because you're afraid of the loneliness. Am I right?
Mulder stares at Ed, then with great reserve.
I'd just like to find her.
Simple, easy piece of cake.
Ed gets up, moves off. Mulder watches him, then gets up too. New angle. Ed is moving back to the door where Mulder shot up the lock. It no longer has a brick wall behind it. Ed turns to Mulder.
Brick wall or brick wall?
Ed turns and walks right through the door, into the other room, standing there with his hands out. Piece of cake.
Go ahead, change your life.
Mulder thinks about it for a moment. Could this man be right? Then he strides toward, straight on angle, Mulder heading into the lens, and smack, he runs right into an invisible wall. Reverse over Mulder. Mulder rubbing his nose, standing in front of the brick wall. As the lights go out and a flash of lightning strikes, we match cut to Scully, standing pretty much where we left her, at the locked door. Interior, third haunted library, night continuous. The flash of lightning illuminates Scully,
Mulder?
but she gets no answer. She's frightened beyond an ability to think straight, backing away from the door, turning and heading quickly for the opposing door. Camera leading her across the room as another strike of lightning flashes, causing Scully to stop in her tracks in abject fear. Reverse on the woman figure in the flowing white robe who Scully thought she saw earlier in the room adjoining the foyer. She's standing in the doorway now, illuminated for an instant by the multiple lightning strike. Resumes Scully, who is the only response appropriate to the occasion. She screams like we've never heard Scully scream. We reverse on the woman figure, who also screams. The dual screams reach a harmonic pitch somewhere above high C. Scully goes for her gun, though her hands are shaking so bad she can't get it out of her holster.
It's okay. I won't hurt you.
Federal agent, I'm armed.
You're what?
And Scully's still unable to get her gun out as the lights come on, revealing Lily. She's in a white bathrobe, under which we see the collar and the hem of a white nightgown, clutching at the front of her robe.
You said you're what?
I'm armed.
Scully finally gets her gun out, pointing it at Lily.
You're a federal agent?
Please stay where you are. I'm a little on edge. My name is Special Agent Dana Scully. I can show you my ID.
Oh, Lord. Oh, goodness. Oh, I thought you were a ghost.
I can just assure you I'm not. I'm an FBI agent. I got stuck in this room looking for my partner.
The gangly guy with a distinguished profile.
You've seen him?
With you in the foyer. I thought he was a ghost too.
Scully lowers her gun a little, her chest still heaving with adrenaline, taking in breaths of relief now.
That was you?
I sleepwalk sometimes, and I thought maybe I dreamed it. But then here you were again.
I didn't mean to scare you. It's just we found bodies.
Bodies? Where?
Scully's point of view. The floor has been replaced, as have the wing-back chairs, as if nothing had ever been found there before. Resume, Scully's reacting to this, to the impossibility of it.
You look like you saw a ghost.
Scully takes a step backward.
There are ghosts in this house, you know.
Who are you?
I live here. Thank you very much.
Where's my partner?
Why are you pointing that gun?
There were corpses under the floor right over there.
Oh, I think the ghosts have been playing tricks on you.
I don't believe in ghosts.
Then what are you doing here?
It's my partner.
He believes in ghosts?
Scully, done answering questions, answering this last one with a look. As she moves past Lily now, gun trained on her, heading for the door that Lily came in, finding it locked, turning on.
Your life must be awfully small. Spending your Christmas Eve with him, chasing around something you don't even believe in.
Lily takes a step forward towards Scully.
Please don't come any closer.
I see it in your face. The fear, the conflicted yearnings, a subconscious desire to find fulfillment in another through another, intimacy through codependency.
What?
Well, maybe you repress the truth about why you're really here, pretending it's out of duty and loyalty, unable to admit your dirty little secret. Your only joy in life is proving him wrong.
You don't know me.
Scully keeps inching backward during this, Lily advancing.
You don't live here. This isn't your house.
You wouldn't think so, the way I'm being treated.
Why is all the furniture covered?
We're having the house painted.
Where's your Christmas tree?
We're Jewish.
Scully has backed all the way up to near the other door, the one she found locked a while back. Her gun still pointed at Lily when the door behind her suddenly opens. Scully wheels, swinging her gun at the door, at the man who, after a moment, steps out of it and into the room. Ed.
Hold it right there. Don't make me shoot. Stay where you are.
Ed looks at her, at the gun, then over her shoulder to Lily.
We really attract them, don't we?
Like birds home for the winter.
Where's Mulder?
Mulder? Is that his name?
Where is he?
He'll be along.
Both of you over there.
Scully wags her gun at Ed, backing away.
This violates our civil rights. I have friends at the ACLU.
Ed moves to Lily, starting to put his arms around her.
Hands in the air.
Ed lets go of her, and slowly both Ed and Lily raise their hands up above their shoulders, which allows Lily's robe to fall open for the first time, so Scully can see, special effect, a gaping, bloody hole blown clear through Lily's body, light penetrating the robe and the nightgown behind it. Reverse on Scully, her gun still trained on them, but her jaw is going slack, and she takes a cautious step forward and then another. Angle over Ed and Lily as Scully approaches, her hand shaking as she reaches slowly out to Ed and removes his hat so we can see the gunshot hole in his head, through which the light penetrates. The reality of this hitting Scully so hard, her eyes roll back in her head and she passes out, falling out of frame. As Ed and Lily turn to one another, heavy-hearted.
See what we've resorted to. Gimmicks and cheap tricks. Oh, we used to be so good at this.
Oh, we used to have years to drive them mad. Now we get one night.
This pop psychology approach is crap. I mean, all it does is annoy them. When was the last time we actually haunted anyone?
Well, when was the last time we had a good double murder? Not since the house was condemned.
This is embarrassing. I mean, this is amateur kid stuff.
Ed shakes his head at his handiwork, Lily taking his hand.
We let our reputation slip. They're gonna take us out. They're gonna take us off the tour literature. Sorry. They're gonna take us off the tourist literature. Last year, no one even showed up.
Of all days, why'd we choose Christmas? Why not Halloween?
Who's fulfilled with hopelessness and futility on Halloween? Christmas comes but once a year.
Yeah, you're right. These two do seem pretty miserable.
Ed chuckles a little, looking at Lily, who seizes the mood.
Maybe we need to show them just how lonely Christmas can be.
Oh, that's the Yuletide spirit.
The lights go out suddenly, and off a flash of lightning, we end Act 2. Act 3 begins with a fade into the interior fourth haunted library balcony. Night continues. We are on the balcony landing where Mulder and Scully first entered the room. This room, or one just like it. Close on the edge of the balcony where fingers enter the frame, clasping on to the lip of the ladder, which went missing. Knuckles going white, straining under his weight as he chins himself up from below. As his reddened face appears, a nice red bump on his forehead, cameras rising, tilting down to the floor below, where we see a wing-back chair that he's used as a booster. As Mulder struggles to get his elbows and torso up and onto the landing, Lily appears below him, looking up. Mulder doesn't see her, however, continuing to struggle as Lily exits the frame. Moving under the landing, a new angle on Mulder, struggling to get a leg up, when Lily enters the balcony through the door leading from the hallway.
Hello, are you Agent Mulder?
Mulder has one leg up, caught in this awkward position, looking up at this total stranger who's called him by name, breathing hard from his climb.
Who are you now?
Lily steps the railing, looks down at the chair.
What are you doing using my chair for a ladder?
Trying to get out of this room.
Trying to get out?
Mulder pulls his whole body onto the balcony now, regarding the stranger warily as he gets to his knees and to his feet.
Excuse me.
Well, you can't get out that way.
He steps up to Lily, who blocks his way. He reaches out and pokes at her shoulder, as if to see if she's a ghost, hitting flesh and bone. Then he takes her shoulders with both hands and moves her backwards. Lily, still in her bathrobe, takes mock offense.
Sure.
Romp.
And with that, Mulder pulls the door open, eclipsing Lily as he does, finding himself face to face with another brick wall. Reverse on Mulder, reacting to this, and then to resume previous shot. Mulder swings the door closed, only to find Lily isn't standing where she was a moment before. Resume reverse on Mulder, reacting to this, and then to Lily.
Well, I don't appreciate that, being manhandled or called names.
Mulder turns around, but there's no one there.
Certainly not at this hour.
Camera pans down to Lily, descending the ladder, which has magically appeared at the spot where Mulder just chinned himself up onto the balcony. Angle and Lily coming off the ladder, camera tilting up toward Mulder.
You're a ghost.
More names.
She pushes the wingback chair to a spot in front of the fireplace as Mulder climbs down the ladder. Moving to her, she gets the chair back just the way she likes it.
What happened to the two star-crossed lovers?
Oh, let me tell you, the romance is the first thing to go.
Mulder's moving around to get in her face, Lily avoiding this.
It's you, Lydia, isn't it? And that was Maurice. But look at you, you've aged.
I hope your partner finds you a lot more charming than I do.
And she exits the frame in a huff, heading for an angle on the bookcase, where Lily shuffles over, looking for.
Let's see, where is it?
When suddenly books start flying out from the shelves, high and low, popping out but not falling out, just long enough for Lily to get a look at each title, to see that with each book it's not the one she's after, sending each one back into its place with a.
No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Oh, there you are.
And she plucks the book she wants off the shelf. During this, Mulder has walked over, watching the antics with due amazement.
I was young and beautiful once, just like your partner.
And she sachets away again, heading toward an angle on the fireplace. A fire lights magically on the spent logs, adjusting to Lily, who sachets one of the wingback chairs, sitting with her book. We close on the book and its title, Ghosts in the House. As Lily opens it, camera adjusting to include Lily and then Mulder, who wanders over. Still not sure what to make of this woman, this ghost. As on cue, in the room, an organ or spinet piano in the room starts to play a melancholy little tune.
Look at us. Maurice was so handsome. He didn't have a gut.
She holds out the book to Mulder. We insert the book. A young, fashionable Lily stands next to a young, squirely Ed, dressed in the fashion of the times.
I hope you aren't expecting any great advantages to all this?
To all what?
Uh, I'm assuming you came here with similar misconceptions.
We came here looking for you.
Lily's nodding, pretending to process this, troubled.
You didn't come here to be together for eternity
No,
because you're full of despair and woeful Christmas melancholy?
Mulder stares at her strangely, smiling as if he's being put on.
why?
Maybe it's your partner then.
What about her?
Well, you knew this house was haunted. Maybe you two should have discussed your real feelings before you came out here. I'm speaking from experience.
What experience?
Look it, I'm not going to get into semantics, but in a murder-suicide, it's all about trust.
I thought you had a lover's pact.
Poetic allusions aside, the outcome is pretty much the same.
Her back to camera, she holds open her robe, Mulder recoiling.
Why are you showing me that?
Well, it's not like you're going to be eating any Christmas ham.
You think Scully's going to shoot me. She's not going to shoot me.
Suit yourself. But if you shoot first, for her, the rest is an act of faith.
I wouldn't shoot her either.
Or maybe she shoots herself.
I wouldn't let her.
The body's under the floor. Maybe that was just some kind of Jungian symbolism. Maybe it's a secret lover's pact.
We're not lovers.
Well, this isn't a pure science, but you're both attractive, and there's going to be a lot of time to work that out.
Lily rises from her, holding a gun.
Go on, take it. Take it.
Mulder passed her his gun, realizing it's his she's holding. He rises now, taking a step backward as she proffers it.
Think of it as the last Christmas you'll spend alone.
As Lily disappears, Mulder catching the gun in midair as she does, and flash of lightning bleaches the room, leaving Mulder in shock and wonder. We cut to the interior of the third haunted library, night continuous. Low angle on Scully, lying on the floor, where she fainted and collapsed. A flash of lightning brings her awake with a start. It takes her a moment to remember where she is, before she scrambles to find her gun, which is lying not far away. Gathering the gun, she rises to her feet, on red alert, but as she scans the room, she seems to be alone. Moving to one of the doors, she finds it locked. Moving quickly to the other door now, across the room, but not reaching it before she's startled by the sound of a voice.
It's locked.
Scully wheeling with her gun at Ed, sitting in one of the wingback chairs, previously hidden from view by its tall back, getting up now.
For your own protection.
Stay away from me.
Scully continues backing toward the door, getting to it and reaching behind herself to get a hold of the knob, all the while keeping her gun on Ed, turning the knob and finding a brick wall.
Let me out of here. I'm very capable of pulling this trigger.
I'm glad to hear it. You may have to defend yourself against that crazy partner of yours.
What have you done with him?
Kept him from his own mad devices, at least for now. Did you have any idea why he brought you here? I mean, to this house?
All I know is this must be a dream. This is all in my head.
And there you are, waving a gun at me. I mean, just like your partner. I don't know if you have any idea how seriously disturbed the man is, how dark and lonely, what he's capable of.
Ed pulls Scully's car keys out of his pocket, dangles them.
Where did you get those?
He's got nowhere to go this Christmas, no one to go with. Did he happen to tell you a story about a lover's pact?
Where did you get my keys?
The man is acting out some kind of deep unconscious yearning, a deep-seated terror of being alone.
Suddenly, there's a loud, insistent knocking at the far door, drawing Scully's nervous attention. She wheels her gun toward.
Scully? Scully, are you there?
I'm here, Mulder.
Scully, open the door.
Open the door.
It's this house. It's seen it happen too many times.
Scully's mind and heart are racing, lowering her gun.
I don't believe you. Open the door. Open it.
Ed does as he's told, moving to the far door, removing a skeleton key, putting in the lock, giving Scully a last look.
Scully,
Scully nods to Ed, gun dangling at her side. As Ed opens the door, Mulder steps in quickly. Ed's the first person he sees.
where's Scully?
Ed says nothing. Mulder's eyes finding Scully, to whom he quickly raises the gun and fires. And off this, we end Act 3. Act 4, Interior, Second Haunted Library, night continues. We're on Mulder, his gun still raised, walking forward toward, direct reverse on Scully, backing up as Mulder advances. Terror in her eyes, but with the gun in her hand lowered.
Mulder, what are you doing?
The answer to which is another gunshot, which squibs off the wall behind her.
Mulder!
Reverse on Mulder, advancing, gun raised and ready, Ed behind him at the door.
There's no getting out of here, Scully. No going home.
He fires again at direct reverse on Scully, where the shot breaks a vase or something nice and explosive behind her. Scully cowering from this action, raising her gun now, if only in self-defense.
Please don't come any closer, Mulder. Please put your gun down. You're scaring me.
Reverse on Mulder, continuing to advance, gun still raised.
Go ahead and shoot, Scully. Make sure you're prepared to finish the job.
Mulder comes to a stop, having backed Scully into the wall.
Make sure when you turn that gun around, you've got the nerve.
Reverse on Scully, back into the wall, these words scaring her as much as a gun.
Nerve to what? I don't want to shoot you. I'm not going to shoot you, Mulder.
Reverse on Mulder.
It's either you or me or you. One of us has to do it.
We can
Scully.
get out of here. We don't have to do this.
Even if we could, what's out there waiting for us? Loneliness. Then 365 shopping days to even more loneliness.
I don't believe you're saying this. I don't believe you mean a word of it. Or
Reverse on Mulder, he shoots, firing at Scully from close range. Close on Scully, reacting to the shot, to the hit her body takes, looking down at Scully's POV of her stomach, out of which blood is pouring. Panning back up to Mulder, who stands there with his smoking gun, camera racking to Ed standing behind him, holding his hands up in futility. Resume close on Scully, as she goes down, falling out of frame. We angle up on Mulder from Scully's point of view, as he steps over her, the smoking gun still in his hand.
Merry Christmas, Scully.
As Mulder points the gun up toward his own head, as we match cut to objective POV, Dolly behind Lily in Mulder's place. Matching into her, putting the gun to her head in foreground, while in the background at this highish angle, we see Scully lying on the floor holding her bloody stomach. Camera keeps dollying behind Lily to her opposite profile for
And Happy New Year.
squeezing the trigger as Ed lumbers into the frame, grabbing her. We match cut back to Scully's POV of Mulder, squeezing the trigger when Ed bolts into the frame, bear hugging Mulder with one arm, wrestling the gun with the other, pulling him out of frame as another shot goes off into the ceiling.
Let me go.
Objective angle where we see not Ed and Mulder, but Ed and Lily in Ed's arms as Mulder, Mock struggling backward toward the door.
Let me go.
Mulder?
I don't want to be alone. Scully, Scully.
Ed and Lily sharing the private joke as he easily drags her out of frame, leaving Scully lying on the floor, gasping for air. Lily's Scully echoing off. A flash of lightning, and we cut to the interior of the third haunted library, night continuous. A flash of lightning. We are close on the door as Mulder shoulders it open.
Scully,
Mulder's point of view, Scully is lying on the ground in a pool of blood, her eyes fluttering, her body limp, her gun still clutched in her outstretched hand. She speaks weakly, with difficulty.
Is that you?
what did you do? Scully.
Mulder cradles her head. Objective angle on Mulder and Lily. Mulder holding Lily, not Scully.
You've come back.
I'm here.
I
I
didn't
don't believe it.
Didn't believe what?
that you'd do it, that I would.
Suddenly Mulder finds, from Mulder's point of view, there's a gun in his stomach, handing up to Scully.
Merry Christmas, Mulder.
Scully, what do you?
A moment of panic before blam, the gun goes off, sending Mulder backwards. His hands going to his stomach wound that starts immediately gushing blood. As his head falls back to the floor, his breast coming in short, gasping pants, we cut to the interior of the second haunted library. Night continues, where we find Scully where we left her after being gunned down by Mulder. She looks quite dead until she rolls over, her face to camera, eyes lolling, maybe half alive. As she begins to crawl, we cut to the interior of a haunted house night, grand stairway. Mulder appears at the top of the stairs, wobbly from his gunshot, covered in blood now, one hand compressing his wound, one still holding his gun, using every drop of strength to get down the stairs, collapsing at the bottom. But only for a moment, before he drags himself on his stomach in an attempt to get to the front door, where he finds blood puddled and smeared in a place he's not yet been. Camera reveals Molly's point of view, Scully, crawling slowly with great effort on the floor in front of him toward the front door. We zoom back to Mulder.
Scully,
As Mulder begins crawling toward her, we go low over Mulder as he crawls toward her on his bloody belly, reaching her just as she flops over and strains up into a sitting position with both her bloody hands on her weapon, pointing it right at Mulder, as if using her last strength to do so.
I'm not gonna make it.
Her point of view of Mulder as he crawls toward her, seeing now that he's at gunpoint.
you're gonna finish it? You're gonna finish what you started?
I'm not gonna make it.
No, you're not.
And now Mulder drags his weapon forward and from his position on his belly, points it at Scully with both hands.
Not without me.
But Mulder's out of steam too, barely able to keep his aim.
You afraid, Mulder? You afraid of being alone?
Scully lies back now, gasping for breath, hands still on her gun. Is this it? But after a moment, she pops back up.
I am.
And they stay like this for a few moments, both wavering.
I am too.
What if help comes?
Help's not coming.
What if only one of us makes it?
A few more moments of labored breathing, wavering.
You gonna pull the trigger?
Are you?
They both appear to be resolute now, drawing down when Mulder loses his nerve, lies his head down on the bloodied tile floor, as does Scully, falling backwards again. They lie there motionless for a moment until
Should have thought of this.
You should have.
You shot me first.
I didn't shoot you. You shot me.
a few moments then.
Scully,
What?
get up.
Mulder slowly picks his head up.
I can't.
You're not shot.
Scully's POV as Mulder appears above her, bloody as ever.
Get up.
Reverse on Scully, looking at him strangely, weakly.
What?
It's a trick. It's all in our head. Look.
He's feeling at his wound. It all seems real, looks real, but now he's improbably holding out his hand to her. Scully takes us in, then slowly stretches out her free hand, wide on the seam as Mulder pulls Scully up. They take a moment to orient themselves to this concept as we cut to the exterior of the haunted house, front porch, night, continuous. Low angle as the front door opens and Scully and Mulder's feet appear, shuffling out the door. Camera rising now on the two agents' clean but wrinkled clothes, rising to their faces, which are still unsure what to make of these goings-on. Blank traded looks before they bolt. Camera panning them off the porch, where we see them running for their cars as fast as they can go. And off this, we dissolve to the interior haunted library, night continuous. High over Ed and Lily in the wingback chairs. There's a fire in the fireplace, playing off their contented gazes as camera slowly drops down. Somewhere in the house, we hear the grandfather clock start to play its chiming melody on the hour.
Hear that? It's Christmas.
One for the books.
Almost had those two, didn't we?
Almost had them.
Two such lonely souls.
Can't let our failures haunt us.
You wonder what they were really out there looking for?
Hard to say. People now. This is just another joyless day of the year.
But not for us.
Ed and Lily both smiled deliciously.
No, we haven't forgotten the meaning of Christmas.
During this, the camera has dropped into a two-shot and has been slowly dollying around Ed and Lily until at this point it circles around the back of Ed's chair, going behind it and then slowing to a stop as it reaches the space between the two chairs, where you see Ed and Lily's hands clasped, framed in the backdrop of the crackling fire. Camera rising now as the fire extinguishes, rising until we're above the chair again, panning down to see that Ed and Lily are no longer in the chairs. As we dissolve, we cut to the interior of Mulder's apartment. Close on Mulder, sitting by himself on his sofa, lost in some kind of deep, troubling thought. He's still in the same wardrobe we last saw him in, staring at, but not necessarily watching, his TV, a scene from the Silent Night, Deadly Night horror movie series playing on the tube, featuring one of the many scenes of a knife-wielding Santa. Atop the TV is one lone Christmas present, slender and circular, 10 inches long. No other signs of Christmas or the season are in evidence. We resume Mulder over the TV when he reacts to a knock at the door. Getting up, turning off the TV, then heading for the door, angle on Mulder's door, as it's opened, revealing Scully, standing outside, still a little shell-shocked. Over the wardrobe we last saw her in, she wears a long winter coat.
I couldn't sleep. I was can I come in?
Mulder opens the door wide.
Aren't you supposed to be opening gifts with your family?
Scully doesn't answer, moving away from Mulder into the apartment until she turns and,
Mulder, none of that really happened out there tonight. It was all in our heads, right?
It must have been.
Scully nods, unsure.
Not that my only joy in life is proving you wrong.
Mulder closes the door, moves in to join Scully.
When have you proved me wrong?
She stares at Mulder. This isn't the answer she was looking for, but it is a good question, one that adds to her weary anxiety.
Why else would you want me out there with you?
You didn't want to be out there?
Scully continues to stare at Mulder.
Okay, maybe that's a little self-righteous, narcissistic.
No, maybe I did want to be there.
They both stare at each other, haunted. Mulder moves the TV to the present, holds it out to Scully.
I know we decided not to exchange Christmas gifts, but it's just a little something.
Scully comes back now, softened by the words, the gesture.
Mulder.
He holds up his hands to silence her, but Scully reaches into her winter coat pocket, removing a small wrapped gift.
I got you something too.
Mulder is touched, taking the gift. They both sit down on the sofa together and start opening their gifts as the camera pulls back and back through the window where it's snowing outside. And off this image, we fade out.
The end.
It never says what they got.
Fun.
We don't know what the gifts are.
Yeah, I wanted to see what they got too. Man. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a really fun episode. I don't know if there's any trivia behind it. I'm sure there is. Should we take a break?
Oh, yeah, right. Thank you. See, this is not my usual. How about we take a 5-minute break so you can gather yourselves and make sure you're not followed by ghosts. Good morning. I
The
see.
assassins have failed. I thought it appropriate for the show.
Very good. Okay, so we'll see you in approximately 5 minutes or like 20 after. 20 after? It's probably good. Okay. And we're back. Oh, look at that. We're all
Hello.
back. Right on. I can't wait to watch this. For real.
I was like, the one we just did?
Yes.
I really love this episode. It's one of my favorites, if not my favorite. It's also the first time they really say that Scully and Mulder are in love with each other, because it's like hinted through the whole show, but they don't really say it. And this is the first episode that it's really like stated.
What season is it in?
It's in season 6.
So quite a ways into the show.
Yeah.
When do the other agents come into play? Like when Mulder's gone for a long period of time and the new agents come in?
Oh, that's after season 7.
How many seasons are there for this?
Technically 11, but they stopped at season 9 or 10, and then it got rebooted a few years later.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, they came back and did a few more episodes. It wasn't good.
They were
right.
husband and wife.
Yeah, they were.
Oh,
And they have a baby.
oh,
Yeah.
wow. I did not know this.
And then there was, what, 2 movies? 2 movies or 3 movies?
There's 2 movies. There's Fight the Future and I want to believe. I guess the other one.
It was also interesting because that first movie was in between while the show was still on. So it took place between 2 seasons.
Yes.
Did it ever show them get married or they just were married?
It doesn't ever show it. Basically they hint at a lot of things. They don't actually kiss until like season 7. And then it's not until when Mulder comes back, I'm pretty sure, that they really start having a relationship. And then Scully wants to get pregnant, and so Mulder helps her with that.
Helps.
But they never really show anything. It's all very hinted.
She gets sick, and that changes things too.
Yeah. Mhm.
Mm.
She gets abducted, she gets sick, has cancer.
Does she ever, maybe this is a spoiler, but does she ever believe? Or
Ah.
should we answer that?
She does believe in aliens because she does actually see them.
Mm.
But there's a really beautiful episode that I believe is the very last episode of the show, where they're laying there in bed and she's talking about her faith, and how she believes in God and those things. And Mulder is basically saying that they have the same belief because they believe in something bigger than themselves. And so it's like 2 different types of beliefs, but they both believe.
Neat.
I mean, after this, she didn't believe in ghosts?
That's the funny part about the show, is that it's like Scully sees so much, but then in like the next episode, she's skeptical.
Yeah.
Funny. Did you find the script held up to your memory of the show? Or
I recently watched the episode, and I think so. I think it's, I don't know, visually, it's a lot easier to understand than reading the script, especially like when Lily is taking over their bodies and like possessing them in a way.
Right.
Visually, it's easier to understand when you're watching it. But I want to say everything else was pretty spot on.
Huh.
There was hardly any changes. The only thing I noticed were like line changes.
Oh, okay. You know, it was interesting that she, like, you think that they actually did get shot, but so the ghosts stay out of it. Basically, they're just messing with their minds. So I wonder, is that what they usually, do you think that they didn't have the power to go beyond, or that was just the way they do things?
That's part of what you're told about ghosts is they can't actually touch you. They can't actually hurt you.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that follows that way of thinking.
I don't know if we mentioned this off camera. I mean, off live, but the two ghosts were played by Ed Asner and Lily Tomlin. So they were major guest stars too.
Another reason I want to.
And they were perfect old grumpy ghosts.
I think it's interesting that they already knew that they were going to cast them because they put the actor's name in the script as the character and not the character's name.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was to help persuade them to do the roles, or if they'd already agreed to it.
This was literally written for you.
Yeah. Look, it's even your names. It was predestined. That's maybe a good tactic. We should all learn in our script writing.
I like how the episode also goes into their psychological, because it's like you really, I mean, especially if you know these characters and have watched them, to watch them react to somebody telling them exactly who they are, is really interesting and I don't know. I like that part of it.
Mhm.
And that
Yeah,
word
they-
paramasturbatory.
Yeah. And they both brought it up about themselves later, like, no, it's not that I just want to prove you wrong, and if I'm blah 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 narcissistic.
But I love that
Yeah.
line. It's like, when have you proved me wrong? And she's like, doesn't have a reply.
Yeah.
Like he could ever admit it.
That, and she has seen everything.
Mhm.
Yeah. And this show is interesting in the sense that the first season, for sure, it was cases that weren't solved.
Oh.
And and as time went on, it's like, well, there aren't that many cases left. So they had to start actually making stuff up. So, at one point you have to, you can actually say to yourself, I wonder if this is actually an unsolved case, and you can kind of tell the stuff they make up is kind of obvious, and which sounds strange when you're talking about aliens and ghosts and things.
Vicky, do you mean real unsolved cases?
Yeah, that's how the series started. Yeah.
But I didn't know
How many
that.
seasons worth? How many seasons did that happen through?
I'm not sure. For sure, the first year was all real FBI cases that were unsolved. From there, I'm not sure. That's something Morgan probably knows better than I do.
I don't know. I do know that they did a few episodes, and you can kind of tell which ones are based off real ones, because there's
Yeah.
some that you've actually have heard of.
Yeah.
And they'll twist it a little bit, but it's pretty accurate to what the actual story is.
Yeah.
I remember
remember-
watching it a little as a kid, but not much.
It's like
Very
everybody thinks the show is about aliens, but it's not just about aliens.
No, it's all kinds of things. Yeah.
It did a hard shift into aliens at one point. But I remember like everyone wanted to do a crossover. Does anybody remember? I feel like they did a crossover with Law and Order at some point for some character, which would then put it in the Law and Order universe. But then there's also a Simpsons X-Files, isn't there? And then there's also, okay, so does anybody remember the show Picket Fences?
Yeah.
They did an unofficial crossover because they were on 2 different networks, so they weren't allowed to technically cross over. But they were on at 2 different times, I remember. So one show was on like 8 to 9, and then Picket Fences was on like 9 to 10. So
Hmm.
they did one episode where the X-Files, there was aliens abducting cows or something like that. And then in the Picket Fences episode, there was a guy who referenced there was just a case about aliens abducting cows. And then in the Picket Fences episode, it turned out to be a different situation with the cows. But they were trying to make that crossover because everybody knew that period of time, everybody was watching X-Files and then switching over to Picket Fences.
I don't know if anyone's also heard of the Scully effect. So when X-Files came out, there was a large number of women that went into forensic science because of Dana Scully from the show. And it
Oh,
changed science history forever because so many more women were getting into forensic science. And it's called the Scully effect.
That's really cool.
Interesting. I
Abby,
remember,
oh. Abby
I-
off of NCIS can say the same thing.
Yeah.
I've heard her say it. Yeah.
and Bones.
Ah.
I don't know if it's from that, but like Bones is definitely very Scully-like. I remember, so X-Files was on when I was in high school, and Silence of the Lambs came out before that. So from Clarice Starling and Scully, I was like, I wanted to go in the FBI, but I did one report on it and found out there was a lot of athletic work you had to do, and I changed my mind.
And yeah, that actually is a bearing that you should take in mind when you're thinking about a career choice. No, I am not going to be climbing that wall. I can't be in the army. No.
I'll just have to watch your yoga show and then.
Yeah.
join in.
I'd like to think I can climb the wall. I don't know though. I've never tried.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one of the rare, well, I don't know about X-Files, but one of the rare shows that has so few characters in it as well. So.
I think it's specifically with this episode. There's a lot more characters in some of the other ones, especially with like Skinner and the Smoking Man and
Mhm.
all the other big characters in the show. But it was interesting that they just focused on it was like they wanted to focus on the psychology of Mulder and Scully in this paranormal ghost spooky episode.
Well, they brought up loneliness a lot, so I wonder if they wanted to drive that home too, that it's just the two of them and then the two ghosts. That's it.
Like it's like they're and their own selves are haunting themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that would have been the ghosts that were messing with them in the very beginning with the whole of it. With them in the floorboards. I really do want to watch it though, because I want to see how it works. Like they said, the third library and all of that. So every time they passed through, it was like a different dimension of the library. Was that
It's
it?
almost
They
like
were,
a
like, in two
Scooby-Doo
different dimensions?
episode.
Huh. It
Yeah,
does
like-
have some-
In Scooby-Doo where they go into the same room, like they'll go through the door and they end up in the same room. They'll go through the door again and they're in the same room. It's like that.
Huh. And it seemed maybe just with this script, and maybe it's not the same on the TV show, but it seemed comedic in some parts. Does it show that way in the show?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mulder and Scully's dynamic is pretty funny. It's like
Mhm.
they're constantly back and forth with each other.
It's constantly the same note. Like, I don't
Yeah.
believe you. You're annoying me. Why am I annoying you? Don't you want to be here? But also like this show, and like I know I don't know who started it or what, but like most of the episodes are serious. And then they'll have like comic relief episodes that are just purely comedic.
Hmm.
And I've seen a lot of like campy genre shows do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you call that genre then? Or is it just dependent on each episode?
I'd say
Or is
overall
it
it's
a mix?
sci-fi.
Yeah.
And I think that usually when I say genre shows, they're usually the shows that fall into sci-fi and fantasy.
Yeah.
And then there is a little mix of everything.
Yep.
Hmm.
What made the show so great was Mulder and Scully's dynamic, because it really is like a long love story.
Mm.
And although Chris Carter did his very best to keep them apart, like even in the movie, there's like the whole thing where they're about to kiss and then the bee stings and that never happens. Um, that is why a lot of people continue to watch the show, because David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson's chemistry was just so great. And the dynamic of those two characters worked super, super well. That even if like it was a stupid, like monster type episode, that you watched it because of their dynamic and how funny they were and how great they were together.
Hmm. Was that
There-
from the very start?
Oh.
Sorry.
I was going to say that it can be the kiss of death to actually have the leading couple get together, like Moonlighting, for example. I mean, time and time again, it's like, yeah, you need to keep them where they're almost touching, and people will keep watching, and you get to have many, many seasons. So,
Or then you need a new couple. Like I remember I watched The Nanny, but after already the nanny had gotten together with Mr. Sheffield. So when I started watching it was like the butler having a secret love affair with the assistant.
Hmm.
So they still needed to have that we're not gonna admit our love situation.
Hmm. So kept that same feel to it, but allowed some of them to progress in the relationships.
Yeah.
Some of the characters.
yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Isn't it funny? Like you want that to happen, want it to happen, and then if it happens, it's like,
Yeah.
Okay, guess we're done.
Uh-oh.
That's
now
how it
what?
happened.
Now they're changing diapers, and who wants to watch that?
Yeah.
Yeah, people are escaping their lives of that to watch.
Yeah. It adds to it. I mean, I just mentioned Bones. There's like that same dynamic in Bones.
Yeah.
I don't know about.
Bones is about is based on a real life woman who is a forensic bone scientist.
Oh, interesting.
But it's a show where the FBI comes to her because they keep finding dead bodies and decayed to a state of unidentifiability, and then they have to use the scientific. I think she works for the Smithsonian, and they go to her and her team to help them figure out the bones. It's a fun show. It's not sci-fi.
Yeah. And her eventual husband on Bones, he comes from Buffy originally.
Yeah, he was Angel.
Yeah.
Oh,
All connects.
and we have a very own angel right here.
What can we say?
Any other thoughts or?
I know we've probably discussed it before, but I was reading the script knowing in this case, having recently watched the episode where the acts are cutting, where the commercial breaks are. And I forgot that whole intro was then like, oh, that's pre-credit. And it was called like, was it called pre? It was before the act one. Does anybody remember what it's
Hold
called?
on this episode?
In this particular script, yeah.
Okay, let's
I
see.
guess the
very
structure
start?
for a TV episode.
Prologue? No. Prelogue.
Okay.
I'm going to make up words now, so I'll stop.
The before log.
I'm looking. Like at the very start, it didn't say anything. It just said fade in.
Mhm.
It's the
Um,
fade in.
Here, let's go take a look. Let us look.
And then I'm curious,
So-
like following that, like when you're in an era where you're making shows directly for streaming that have no commercials, do you still write in this structure?
Mm,
Hmm.
right. Yeah. Well, I think there's a whole lot more freedom now in how a show is structured because they don't have that same like, hey, we're 15 minutes in, we got to put a commercial here. Hey, or
Hmm.
there's act one right there. So I don't think it actually named it. And
No.
maybe I'm going too fast, but
I don't know if we discussed it here recently or I heard recently somebody wrote a script and then the show gave it back to him and said, this is a great script, but you've written it with like 18 locations and we can't do that for one episode. Whereas this is a good script because it's all in the same living room for half the time.
yeah, cuts down on.
We did
the-
discuss that at some
cost.
point. I forget what show it was for though.
Yeah, I don't remember, but yeah, it definitely cuts down on costs if you can have it all in one location and with so few characters as well. This would have been a pretty overall pretty cheap episode for them to film comparatively.
Yeah, notice those set locations, there weren't very many. And, you know, you have 3 libraries, they're all the same.
Yeah. And yeah, the 4 characters and then I would imagine, I haven't seen it, but I would imagine not a whole lot of special effects.
They actually filmed this in a house too, on location, so it's not a soundstage.
Oh, okay. I wonder if that makes it less expensive. Just depends on the place.
That'd be more insurance.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
They didn't really have to do much to the set. I mean, other than put sheets over furniture.
Floorboards, but that could have been,
Yeah. The books coming out of the
Oh,
the library
no.
shelves.
yeah.
Shooting the door handle.
And then the other location is Mulder's apartment, which was probably already built.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And
Forgot
a
about-
car.
It
I wonder where their
seemed-
house is. It's probably in my neighborhood.
Oh, yeah. Cool. It seemed like a pretty straightforward script to me. I mean, other than, yeah, you'd have to kind of read it over a few times to understand exactly what was going on. But, not really like flowery or anything. It was just very like, this is what's happening. So,
It was a little flowery because I was listening to like, people don't really talk like this. Scully and Mulder specifically. Their big long tail and the big words they choose.
oh, yes, that. Yeah. I'm thinking more.
But it's
the
still funny.
action description part is.
Oh yeah.
like, just. Yeah,
I
they
like-
did get philosophical. What's that?
Oh, I like the part how, the beginning with lots of lightning flashes and lots of creaky sounds and lots of chains. And they comment on the fact that, these are like every classic, TV show, horror movie, so that they can get away with it because they've commented on it. If they hadn't commented on it, the audience would be thinking, oh, this is like every TV. But if they say it, then it's okay.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, good point.
It's Gypsy.
I know Gypsy. Oh yeah, how did Mulder react to hearing his name all night?
Yeah, he has looked up one time, I've noticed, because I have watched X-Files with him many times,
Oh yeah.
waiting for the moment that when somebody says Mulder that he'll look up, and he's done it once.
Aw, aw, Gypsy's cute. What a sweetie. So, does anyone else have anything more to say, or is that the night?
Did I say it was the 30th anniversary of X-Files?
Oh no, you didn't.
No,
Yeah.
she did
Oh, you did?
30th
Maybe to outline,
I didn't
anniversary.
hear.
3 times. Oh.
So, guess
Premiered
what? I have to
30
work
years
on?
ago. Crazy.
That is crazy. 30 years.
At least I didn't
That's what it
show this on
began?
the live part.
Ooh.
It started 30 years ago?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't know
Oh,
why.
I feel old.
1993.
It actually felt longer than that.
93, yeah.
Hmm. Well, that's neat. What are they doing now?
Oh, Gillian Anderson does so much. And she's multi-accented. And she looks better now than she did then.
Yeah.
Steve Duchovny, different story. I don't know.
Yeah. She looks younger now than she did in the 90s. Yeah.
Oh, that deserves its own X-Files
Yeah.
show.
Anybody that has seen Sex Education, she plays the mom in that.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
One of the things, she's got her hair grown out. She had the horrible 90s haircut. It was like, it makes everybody kind of look dumpy. So
The Bob.
When they
Right.
brought them back, though, they
kind
made her a red wig, and it was so bad.
of.
They,
Is her
she was
hair not
recently
naturally-
Margaret Thatcher in something.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
is she not naturally a redhead though?
No, she's blonde.
Wow,
Yeah, they dyed her hair for X-Files.
I totally thought she was redhead naturally.
Well, I also
Huh.
remember that 1993 fashion was very large, oversized outfits. So, and like, she was like in her 20s, I think.
Oh,
And she looked like she was in her mid 30s based on the outfits.
Yeah. Yeah. She was always in suits.
Mm.
Yeah.
One thing is, a fun fact is that she was actually pregnant when the show started
Oh,
before filming, and they were going to replace her. And Chris Carter said no, that he's not going to do the show without her. And so the first few episodes of the X-Files, if you pay attention, she's pregnant through that whole like half first season.
wow.
that's
Which
cool.
means her child is as old as the X-Files.
Mhm. And
Oh
her
my
child is
God.
named after the X-Files as well.
Oh,
She
What's
has a
her-
child, uh, Piper or something, and it's named after an X-Files episode.
Piper LaRue. Does that sound familiar?
and how ironic that I already brought up Moonlighting, and Sybil Shepherd was also pregnant, and they didn't reveal it to the audience. It was all camera angles and stuff. And she was pregnant with twins. So that was really hard to hide. There's two babies.
Somebody recently posted on Facebook in my feed that Moonlighting's about to be streaming somewhere finally,
Oh,
bringing it up.
I like
there's aspects of that show. We're off track from X-Files, but it's so very interesting. Like, speaking of cameras, there was a lens put over just for Sybil Shepherd's shots so that she could be soft and, really extra pretty. There were no edges to the side of her face. It was just blur. That's
Back
how
to
I
the nanny. I
remember.
remember like a lot of funny episodes where the character Cece was pregnant, but they were like, making very obvious that they were covering up the pregnant belly.
Oh.
Like she'd be carrying a box that said "pregnant" across the room or something.
I don't remember that. Yeah. See, that's how you deal with an actress being pregnant in a series and they don't want the person to actually have a baby. That's how you deal with it. You just cover it up with a box or just
Well,
never show them from here down.
Was she also pregnant again when they decided to impregnate her with an alien baby?
She wasn't actually pregnant then, but she did get
Oh.
pregnant later on in the show as well.
I thought that's why they made her pregnant.
And then
I mean,
Mulder,
vice versa.
or David Duchovny, I should say, left the show because of money issues. He wasn't getting paid as much as some of the other leads on other Fox TV shows. So he quit. And that's why they brought in the other agent. And then when they brought the show back, they were going to continue, but Gillian Anderson wanted there to be more female writers in the writers' room, and they said no. And so she quit. And that is why the X-Files did not continue.
I think that's a good reason. I can't believe they said no to that. Why would they say no to that? Jeez. Thank God things have.
Somebody's
done-
trying to, I heard, do a new X-Files show, different cast. So I don't know how
Like a
when that's
reboot
gonna
or
be.
in the same universe?
Wow.
I think I don't know. I know it's supposed to be the X-Files. So it'd be like a new X-Files, same characters, different actors.
Hmm.
I don't know if we'll accept that.
Oh.
Well, there's probably been enough time now that maybe there's more of those real X-Files that they could dig from again. Which
Yeah, and
that
now
would
the
be
whole
great.
government conspiracy thing is not even just out there now. It's just like, yes, there was one.
They should have one simply for that reason. See,
Yeah.
see, I told you so.
Oh, we're on to something here.
Yes.
Look, we're in all females writers room right now. Start it.
Yeah. All right. That would be cool. Even like Morgan, your the one that you were in. You can talk a little bit about that if you wanted to.
Which one?
Slayers?
The Buffy one.
Oh,
Yeah, they could do something like that, but with X-Files.
yeah. So the Slayers thing that I'm in, they're bringing back all of the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer cast. But it is an audio series. And so people can listen to it on Audible. So you're not actually watching the actors. You can hear the original actors in a brand new story that is in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer universe. But it's all audio.
That's cool. And what was the reasoning for that instead of, was it just financing or?
I honestly, like, as bad as it sounds, could be age.
Oh,
The
Yeah.
vampires don't look like young vampires anymore.
Yeah.
right. Vampires aren't
They
supposed
look
to age.
totally different. It's been so many years since the show was on, so all the actors look very, very different.
That makes sense. Hmm.
And
Where
yet
it's a trend, though.
fabulous. They all look
Like Jillian, they look
fabulous.
better.
Mhm.
I want to look her up now. That's pretty amazing.
Jillian's in her prime. She's been in so much recently.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
David
she's got this
Tennant was in
crazy. So
Band.
she's like, was she born in England or she just have
Yeah.
dual citizenship? And she switches her accent from like British to American, depending on where she is.
She grew up in the UK and then traveled with her family to the US. So she's dual citizenship. And if you watch her interviews that are in the UK, she speaks with a European accent. If she's doing an interview in the US, she'll speak with an American accent. So
Funny. I wonder if she's equally comfortable in either one or how she speaks at home or something.
yeah, it's interesting. It's like you don't know what her real accent is.
I think that's unusual too, that, characters that have accents that play characters either with the same accent or, that have different accents. When you see them in interviews and they sound totally different. And we're watching one with like Stargate, not the original one, but the spin-off. And there's a Scottish doctor. He's got a mild Scottish accent in person, but on the show, it's a really deep brogue. And he was giving an interview in Scotland, and they complained because he didn't sound Scottish enough. So he had to put in his brogue in before where his audience would accept him.
I've gone down the rabbit hole of watching actors that speak different languages, doing interviews in different languages, like Mila Kunis, who speaks Russian.
Oh. That I wasn't aware of.
Hmm.
I saw, I can't remember her name. 11 from Stranger Things. I
Mm.
don't remember.
7 of
her.
9.
No, 11.
Oh, 7
Her
and
name was
9.
11.
I
Um,
want you people to do math.
Somebody had to bring up Star Trek.
yeah,
Okay.
anyways, yeah, she was making fun of American accents or something like that. But
Millie Bobby Brown.
that's
Just
the
came to
one.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I know this is like one of your favorite, Morgan, and it sounds like it might be one of your favorites too, Vicky.
I like this, yes.
Yeah.
One of
So
my favorites, but
unless-
never finished it.
Oh.
Story of my life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard
And
to
I've never
get-
seen it.
The whole show or
Maybe
just this
half-
episode?
Maybe half an episode. When it's,
Oh.
while I walk in a room and it's
Hat.
on.
Mulder.
My son is named Mulder.
Yes. Yeah, it wouldn't be complete without giving him a cameo for sure. So he believes in the
It's hilarious
alien.
because he's got a million toys, but his favorite toy is his alien toy. And so it fits.
Aw, cute. So before we go, our next week's episode, just checking. You guys
Super
can
8?
talk and I'll go find it.
I think it's Super 8, isn't it?
Well, that's what this week was going to be. And then we had this, well, Morgan found
Oh, it
this
was an
episode, which
Alien
was
after that,
like,
isn't it?
what's that?
Aliens next then?
I don't know, I'm trying to find.
October 10th?
Yeah,
I have
ironic.
way too many things open on my computer. I think I shut the actual thing that should have been looking at.
I had a pet
Uh,
named Ripley.
Or please believe it or not.
Yeah, your schedule online on Table Read Tuesdays on Facebook, it's Alien for the 10th.
Oh, that's true.
And then Stranger Things,
Wow.
Walking Dead and Paranorman.
Alrighty. Well, I believe Jacob is gone next week too. Which means maybe I get to change things. We might keep it Alien, but maybe because I was really looking forward to Super 8 too. Maybe we could continue on with that.
Also about aliens.
I also about aliens. And it is October. So
Super 8's
yeah.
a really fun one.
Pardon me?
Super 8's a really fun one, and that one's good because it has like equal screen time for like every character.
Oh, and it's already cast.
Mhm.
So that could be a good thing just because unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know, life has been fairly busy over here. So if it sometimes Table Read Tuesday is wonderful, love it. It does take a lot of time. So
Casting takes forever.
what's that?
I know, casting takes forever.
Mhm.
Can yeah, and just yeah. So we tune
Well,
in
next year when
week.
I have scripts in,
What's
can-
that?
I said next
Oh,
year when I
yeah.
have scripts in, I can help.
Yes, yes. And you know what's crazy? I'm looking at this and we are on, so we just finished the 41st, which actually probably the 40th because I believe we missed one. One or two. 40 scripts this year in 2023. I
Wow.
forgot how to say it. Woo-hoo. What year? So yeah, 40 scripts with Table Read Tuesday just in 2023,
It's crazy.
which means we have like 11 left, 12 left, 11 because there's a wrap-up party for the last one. Not much left. So maybe start getting your next year's scripts in now. We can start making
You have a
notes.
theme, like this year is mostly television and last year is mostly movies, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what Jacob's got planned. We haven't discussed it. could be interesting. I don't know. So it's gonna be good. And he always picks some really good shows. And I
I've
miss-
enjoyed this year that the combination was a nice change.
It is nice, yeah. Yeah, I think we want to put in a few more maybe unproduced ones. I shouldn't say that because I'm not totally sure yet, but
You should do more comedies next year.
yeah,
Those are
Yeah.
super fun to do.
I find, and yeah, it's good to get that comedic timing. I don't know. If
Yeah.
it'd be
We
tough
could throw these ideas at Jacob and see what sticks.
for sure. Absolutely.
All right. I have improv on Thursday, so I'll get all of this out of my system.
Yeah, you don't have to get it out of your system.
It can be really
Sorry.
annoying.
Bubble it up. No. Oh, yes. And Kat has on Saturday. Do you want to talk about it right now?
Arsenic and Old Lace, reading with two households in Fair Corona. I'm casting it tomorrow, so if you can join two households in Fair Corona on Facebook, and you can find the event page there, and you
Yeah.
can sign up for a speaking part. No auditions required.
Yeah, get in touch with Kat for that.
I'm going to be in one of them.
Fun. I wish my Saturdays were less busy and I'd jump on.
Yep, 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern. Start
What is it, Mountain Standard Time?
4.
4, so
Oh,
3, 4, 5, or 6, depending which area of the country of the North American continent you live on. We do have some folks that sometimes join us from England or Japan or Moscow or wherever.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got readers from the UK, and that lady from Japan, she's an audience member, and like I've got to figure it out one day. What time is she watching us at her
Sunday
time?
morning, I think. Yeah, she's watching on Sunday morning.
Yeah. Good for her.
Yeah. Well, it was great to hang out with y'all again. Y'all. I think that's a wrap.
All right, we'll see you next week.
Well done. Thanks again, Morgan, for getting this together for everyone. It was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I mean, Chorus is my favorite show.
Yeah, yeah. And a big thanks to your friend too for letting us get
Use the
use
script.
script.
Yeah, I was excited because I was disappointed when I looked up and there was like hardly any X-Files episodes online. And the ones they do have online are not the good episodes.
And then to be able to get your favorite one, that's pretty
Yes.
cool. Mhm. Very nice. Big thanks to them and talk to y'all next week.
Bye.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Bye.
Let me know if you're going to be there. Okay,
I'll be
bye.
there.
I
Awesome.
will.